Hello everyone, this is Locko S, and welcome back to Star Citizen for the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo 2953. It is Drake Interplanetary's day at IAE. Looking at the event program here, unfortunately, with Drake Interplanetary taking the Apex Hall, the previous owner of Apex Hall, Crusader Industries and Tumblr, has left. And we can honestly say at this point we've reached sort of the halfway point through IAE. So we still have, thankfully, quite a few more manufacturers to go. And you still have until the 30th to buy any ship that comes on the online sale, so you still have plenty of time to make your purchases online. So take it easy, take a breath. There's plenty of time. There's plenty of time to make purchases for your quote-unquote Hull Unlimited ships. The Hull Unlimited ships like the Kraken and the Javelin and the Idris. There's going to be a fight for them, but honestly, I would even recommend you buy their ships anyways. They're too huge, really, for like a person to crew or to like even like gather enough people to operate. You kind of want to earn those in game as an org. Plus, that gives you a goal to look forward to as an org. But with that being said, again, Drake Interplanetary's day is today, and looking forward to especially tomorrow, as we have Argo Astronautics, Consolidated Outland, Greycat, and Kruger Intergalactic. So two of my favorite manufacturers are going to take the hull tomorrow, and Anvil Aerospace, which has quite a few of my favorite ships, is going to take the hull on Thanksgiving Day. So Thanksgiving Day is going to be interesting because it's going to basically be two hulls that I really like back-to-back. And then we wrap up with Mirai and Misk and RSI on Thanksgiving weekend. So, Drake actually has been expanding its selection of ships slowly. Although it's not a huge manufacturer, it's a big manufacturer, but it's not huge like Aegis Dynamics. But still, we have quite a few ships to go through, including the Venerable Cutlass series and everyone's favorite newer ships, the Corsair and Cutter, as well as the good old Caterpillar. So, let's get to exploring. Alright, let's get the camera behind me. There we go. Alright. Let's start off with a ship that actually debuted at last year's IAE for the 2952 IAE, and that is the Drake Interplanetary Cutter. As you can see, it's kind of very much a box on landing legs with two boxy engines bolted to the side, as is Drake's style. I believe these are two size 1 guns up in the front, or two size 2 guns up in the front. Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between size 1 and size 2, but you have 2 guns up in the front, and I do believe you even have 2 missiles on this ship. Other than that, it is actually a very useful and neat little starter ship. You actually have a dedicated cargo bay back here, and it can actually fit a couple of these smaller ground vehicles. I believe it might be able to fit a Dragonfly back here. But its real purpose back here is to fit 4 SCU of cargo space, so you can have 2 SCU of cargo stacked up on top of each other on each of these plates for a total of 4. You can fit more cargo back here in larger boxes. They just will not be on the cargo grid. Something I like about the Drake Cutter, by the way, which is really neat, is if you close the door, you see that you actually still have these little windows out to the side in the back of the ship. So that's pretty neat. You can be back here on the back of the ship and have an idea of what's going out in the outside world a little bit. I like little details like that, just even little windows in odd and end places, just to give you an idea of like what's outside, like what's the condition of the area you just landed in outside, stuff like that. Going into here to the Drake Cutter cabin, we have a little bathroom here. We have a bathroom toilet shower combo here, which is very luxurious for a starter ship, especially one coming from Drake. You have a little bit of component access back there, a bed, and you also have a little bit of personal storage, I believe, here. Yep. There's your personal storage. And again, you have, I guess, what's going to be basically the future kitchen of your Drake cut up pillar right here. So looks like it's just a hot water dispenser and maybe like a microwave oven there. Other than that, we have the cockpit up here. You enter the pilot seat from down below, and you climb up into the cockpit up here. And you actually have decent visibility in the cockpit. Decent visibility off to the sides, a little bit up above, and again, you have it mostly to the sides. I like kind of like the boxy view of the window, by the way, too. It's very much fitting of like Drake's boxy style for a starter ship that's kind of built, quote-unquote cheap starter ship. So overall, it's a really good, it's definitely a good option for a starter ship. You definitely have your weapons for self-defense. You have actually a full little cabin by yourself, and you have enough cargo space to store some valuable loot on your various missions, and perform delivery missions as well. The Drake Cutter Scout basically is the Drake Cutter, but there is, in the back of the ship here, a scanning station off to the side, and this is going to be where you perform most of your scanning gameplay and the like back here with this engineering station. They haven't really fleshed out the scanning gameplay yet, but eventually they will. Might be a while before they get to that, though, so don't get the Cutter Scout expecting scanning gameplay to be a thing soon, but it will eventually become a thing that you will have. I believe this is also the only cargo space it has here in this little bay right here off to the side. I don't know why they couldn't have swapped it around and did some other things to make a little bit more cargo space, but I think they mainly did that because with the Cutter Scout's enhanced scanning suite, they needed to give the ship more components to power the larger radar, so I believe that's why they had to kind of only give you 2 SU of cargo space, so you had access to all these different components back here for the larger scanning array. So it is a compromise. More component access for the scanning array that reduces your cargo space. So keep that in mind. But then again, the base cutter didn't really have any more than 4 anyway, so you're not really buying a cutter to do trading. Also of note, this back little window here is purple instead of yellow like the other one. Although I wouldn't be surprised, by the way, if there are actually quite a few paints for ships, especially of the cutter, especially the cutter line. And I'm quite sure if you buy a special paint, this glass tint changes, which would be a cool little touch. Going from Drake's smallest ship to one of its largest, we have the venerable and quite at this point old Caterpillar series. It still holds up. It's still one of the largest cargo ships in game. And it's one of the largest cargo ships in-game that is still reasonably suited for a single player. With its twin manned turrets, however, one down here on the belly and one up. This is one slow elevator. And the other turret up top. You definitely will have trouble defending the ship if you're just a single pilot, because you will only have forward-facing guns, and I believe they are even fixed. I have no idea why this is low. But regardless, you have only 2 turrets on the ship, so you'll definitely want at least a crew of 3, yourself as a pilot and 2 people to man the turrets if you're going into any relatively dangerous areas, and just to make this ship a bit more defensive. Although the turrets, as you can see, do pack a pretty nice sized wallop with those large guns on either side. And the pilot does actually have access to their own guns, so if you get in front of the if you somehow manage to get in front of the caterpillar, you're also going to receive additional fire from the pilot. So the ship is not defenseless by any means. But it's still not exactly a hammerhead in terms of firepower. So going down here, we have the lower walkway of the Drake Caterpillar, and the Drake Caterpillar does actually have a lot of individual rooms and hallways labeled. And heading towards the back of the first floor, we have the engine bay here at the very tail end of the ship with its own engineering station. Also, you have, in the back of this engineering bay, you have a ladder going up to the second floor. You have the lower turret access that we saw near the cargo elevator, or the small elevator for crew. You have the turret access that will drop you down to that turret we saw down below. You also have a stairway access that gets you to the second floor through the stairway, but we're going to go ahead and take the stairs so we don't miss this little back room here. Back here, we have a whole bunch of component housings back here for components in the future. There is the power plant access up here, which houses the ship's power plant. We have two doorways here. They both lead roughly to the same area. This little side room here is a server room. That's the power plant back there. And this is a little hallway that leads you up to the left, where you have the detachable command module, where the pilot and co-pilot operate out of. And over here, we have the stairway access that leads you down to the engine room that we were just in. And going off into this little side room here, we actually have what's kind of been long awaited in Star Citizen, the tractor beam station. So from here, you'll be able to remote into a tractor beam that's on the edge of that wing, and you'll be able to move cargo in and out of the side bays here through that tractor beam. Now, there is going to be some adjustments into the location of the tractor beam and more refinement of the tractor beam gameplay in the future. Right now, it does seem to be a little iffy just because of the placement, and it's not really able to reach into the bays as well. Hopefully, they play around with the placement of the tractor beam. They do some other things to like deploy the tractor beam out on an arm, perhaps, to get better access into the bays, stuff like that. But this is where you will control the starboard-mounted tractor beam. And I can imagine this also just being a good just for general cargo ops, just to have like a view, an unrestricted view of your cargo operation here. So you order, the captain parks the Caterpillar off to the port side of where the cargo is, and then you use this dedicated station to just tractor beam cargo at least to the mouth of the bays, and then maybe you have someone inside with an actual handheld unit tractor them into their final spot within the actual bays themselves. Before we get into the long section of the Caterpillar which gives the Caterpillar ship its namesake, we're going to this little command module here. Command module is where you have seats for the pilot and co-pilot up here, with this beautiful, very panoramic. It's very much a panoramic cockpit. There are a lot of struts blocking your way, but that's Drake's style. But you still, even just squatting down here by this chair, you can see just how much all your viewing angles out of this cockpit. It is a very, for as big as a ship as this is, you do have a lot of visibility. There we go. Also of note, you do have two support seats back here for various various uses in the future, for like engineering and ship management and other features. And it's also because okay, yeah, folks, welcome to early access. Now there is this isn't the end of the world. There is, or should be, so there is, or rather should be, a door right there, that we should be able to access and drop down a ladder, but I don't think it's working for us today. Again, partly because it's hard sometimes to find the button that you need to click whenever it's this whenever it's IAE. Because every time you're on the ship, it says, "Oh, you want to rent the ship, don't you?" And it's like, "No, I just want to get in the ship." It's like, "No, you really want to rent the ship, don't you?" And it's like, "Fine." There we go. Alright, this is deploying a little bit faster this time. But anyways, we'll go for the exterior. Noting on the exterior, again, you have your forward-mounted guns that your pilot actually controls that fire forward. Also, this support seat down here actually controls this tractor beam here. So this tractor beam is the port side tractor beam. So that way you have a tractor beam on this side and the other side that can tractor in cargo to both sides of the cargo bay. Again, there's that rear turret I mentioned. Come on, arms. You can do it. Maybe this is a show floor model that's been around for so long it's starting to fall apart. Well, that's something I never actually noticed on the ship before. In this little crew elevator here, there actually is a gun rack for Drake. Drake has gun racks usually everywhere in their little ships. Alright, here we go. Center hallway. Alright, so there we go. That's the quicker way to get to the command module here. Now we're going to attempt this one more time. If it fails, oh well. But down here... Okay, good. I didn't glitch through the floor. So down here, this is the second floor of the command module. You have a gun rack back here. If the game behaves and lets you slide past the ladder. The command module has its own set of habitation facilities as well. You have a shower, toilet, sink combo. You have your own little mini kitchen right here. You have your own little even table to eat right here. Plus your own little storage area that'll eventually get implemented. And you have 2 beds back here. And this is the support station, like I mentioned earlier, that allows you to use the tractor beam to actually get cargo in and out of the Caterpillar. And this door eventually will, in the future, will be able to open up and allow you to get down to the ground, to the floor. And again, you have more weapons racks back here for Drake. I will say I am not sure if the weapon racks are implemented for Drake ships. This is one of those ships that is so old, I don't know if they've fully went ahead and implemented everything that has been implemented in future ships. It might be one. This is easily a ship that will get a redo in the future, just to implement things that are in newer ships. Speaking of something that hasn't been implemented yet, you have an EVA hatch here that's also a small docking collar ring up here that's vertically mounted with an actual ladder to actually allow you to get through it, which is an improvement over some things. And then right here, we are now, because we are on the second floor, we are actually on a catwalk that goes through each one of the modules. So you have module 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And each one of these modules are interchangeable. So this is module 4 right here. Each one of these modules are interchangeable. And in the future, using the modularity system, you'll be able to replace these modules with various kinds of modules that they have planned, like a salvage module, a cargo module, so on and so forth. Currently, none of those are implemented. Currently, the only module that comes with your Caterpillar for all 4 bays are cargo modules. But all modules, I believe, do have this plan where there's going to be a catwalk on this upper upper port side of the ship. Then you'll be able to walk across all modules up here. And you will need that because up ahead, you have this bay here that opens up, and this is the forward cargo bay. And it allows you also access to the upper front turret. Using this ladder here, we'll get down to the first floor of the ship, and that's where we will showcase just how much cargo the ship is able to carry. So up here, you have this forward-facing bay. You have cargo up here. And again, you have cargo all the way here. Up to the left and right. And it can actually stack fairly high off to the starboard side right here. Obviously, the port side cargo bay is a little bit hampered because of this catwalk, but you can still stack it relatively high even there. Just to give you a sense of what this... Here, let's go one more bay in. Oh, that's the actual habitation module. So this is the last bay here. And this gives you a feeling of what the Caterpillar looks like and feels like in its cargo bay when it's fully enclosed off. And it is going to be possible in the future to control these doors a little bit better, so that you'll be able to seal off sections to act as airlocks in case you have a EVA operation going on in a nearby bay. And at the very rear of these the Caterpillar's modular sections, next to the elevator access to get down to the ground floor, you have another habitation area. Again, full kitchen, bathroom, sink, toilet combo, and 2 beds. So you do actually have 4 beds for the Caterpillar, and that gives you basically a pilot, 2 gunners, and then you have one other person that could be a co-pilot, a tractor beam operator. It's very well planned out that way, I believe. I feel like, because it gives you one extra person who doesn't have to necessarily man a dedicated station. To make it useful, they can go around and be... they can go out and repair things as an engineer, or they can actually do cargo ops as a tractor beam operator, stuff like that. Now, obviously, you can fit more than 2 people in here. You don't have to have necessarily 1 crew member per bed, as with all the other ships. It's just recommended, I believe, for long-distance adventures, where you're going to want to have at least 1 bed for every person, so that way you're not running into any cases where someone can't log out of the ship. And I don't know how it's going to work in the future, but I would imagine if 1 person is on the ship and the ship can't be logged out, you're going to run into problems where that 1 person keeps the ship spawned in. And because that 1 person is keeping the ship spawned in, they're going to be entirely responsible for that ship's safety. Now, I'm going to... Okay, Apex Hull 4. Yeah, we're on complete opposite side. So Caterpillar is definitely... you can't, like I said, you can't operate the Caterpillar solo. It is highly recommended you at least have 1 other person, if not 2 other people, just to man the turrets to give you a bit more protection. It is a large cargo ship, and it will suffer if you try to solo operate it and you get into a dogfight. Alright, back here, we actually have a couple of Drake Interplanetaries, kind of one-off ships. None of these ships have variants, as we know of yet. Starting here, we have Drake Interplanetary's dedicated fighter, the Buccaneer. This is effectively the glass cannon of Star Citizen. Lots of weaponry, but it's very fragile and very maneuverable. So you're relying very much on speed and firepower to win the day, and if you start taking hits, you're gonna immediately notice and suffer for it. Thankfully, you do have Your larger weapons are more centrally located. So you have these two. You have two guns that are inboard of the engines that are larger. You do have, I believe, two missiles on a pylon here on the outboard of the engines, and at the very tip you have these smaller ballistic Gatling guns come stock, and on the I want to say on the dorsal of the aircraft on the top, you have I believe a large Gatling gun. Yeah, there you go. An Apocalypse Arms. That's a size 4 mount up there for various weapons. So your big firepower, thankfully, your large amount of your firepower is centralized in between the engines. However, it's still very easy to lose these exterior wings. The ship does not the ship does not have a lot of armor, nor is it heavily shielded. So if you start taking hits, you're gonna start losing the edge of the wing, and you could even potentially lose the entire wing entirely. In which case, you lose all your firepower from that wing, and then you're just down to half your firepower effectively. Also, keep in mind, the ship as it comes stock relies heavily on ballistic weapons, so you can also end up easily getting into dogfights and burning through the majority of your ballistic ammunition in one go, and then having to fly out and restock. So your battlefield endurance in this ship is going to be limited just because of your ballistic loadout. And I don't think the ship, as at least with the stock power plant, and I don't know with the power plant as a whole, if it could be even upgraded to the point where you can equip more energy weapons. You might be able to get away with one more energy weapon on the top mount, or maybe two smaller energy weapons on the wingtip mounts. But you're gonna struggle to get more energy weapons, I believe, on the Drake Buccaneers. As stock, it's very much dedicated towards ballistic weaponry. But still, it is a very fun fighter if you want to go for that huge Alpha Strike glass cannon gameplay. This is definitely a good fighter to go with. Over here, we have the Drake Herald, which is a data runner ship. So this ship, its entire purpose is not implemented in game yet. Its only real quote-unquote function right now in game is to act as a drag racer effectively, or just sort of as a roleplay ship effectively. It does have a decent-ish weapon loadout. I believe that's a size 2 Gatling, and then 2 size 1 repeaters on the wingtips, as well as a couple of missiles and these what look like to be engine nacelles, but they are actually just places to mount missiles, weirdly. And other than that, the Drake Herald, its only real, like I said, its only real purpose in game is to go fast in a straight line at the moment. It does have a cabin, though, as everyone tries. There we go. We're now in. So you do have actually a single pilot up here. A really neat-looking cockpit with all this exposed metal. You have a gun rack for self-defense, so I can try to squeeze past him. There we go. We have a... and while you're not piloting the ship, you actually have a station back here for both scanning and data operations back here. And you even have a bed to sleep in at the end of the day. Plus your toilet sink combo for your hygienic needs. So you can actually make have the ship be out in the wilds for quite a bit, data collecting, going from outpost to outpost, buying and selling data. It isn't going to be a thing in the verse eventually, but as of right now, I can't really recommend this ship. Its armament is too weak to make it a interesting fighter. It's only fast in a straight line, so racing is going to be a challenge, although people do race these, and its main gameplay function isn't in game yet, so unless you really are interested in the data running gameplay loop, definitely a hard pass. And even then, I would wait till data running comes out and see what it's like before you get involved in the gameplay loop. Now, this is a fan favorite ship, the Drake Corsair. I was about to say Cutlass. The Cutlass is another fan favorite ship, but the Corsair here is very much a fan favorite ship. This also, I believe, was released last year. Drake had a very big year last year for ship releases, so this is another one that got released. Huge cargo bay back here, can actually carry a decent number of ground vehicles, except for, I believe, the larger Atlas series. I don't think this can carry an Atlas series ground platform, nor can it carry a Nova tank, but the Scorpion light tank definitely can carry that. Definitely can carry a lot of the ground bikes. Definitely can carry the Tumbler Cyclones. So you could definitely have a lot of smaller ground vehicles back here, plus cargo. Moving on past the cargo bay back here, you have the engineering room here in this little octagonal room. Off to the side here, because this ship is actually interesting in the fact that it's a non-symmetrical ship. Off on the starboard side, you have a airlock slash weapons locker, an EVA locker. So you have your EVA suits and your weapon lockers all back here. And as you can see from the Drake Caterpillar, this ship does use the newer button panels. This is something that's been implemented in the newer Drake ships. It has yet to get ported back into the Caterpillar. So look forward to these hopefully in a upcoming... eventually when they get back to doing gold passes on ships, these hopefully will make it their way back in there. Other than that, so that is the EVA slash weapon locker room and suit locker room. Moving forward of the engineering bay, we have basically the habitation room here, where everyone, believe it or not, on a Drake ship gets the rare luxury of their own little cabin with their own little storage locker. So you have your own private storage locker here, and you have three crew member habitation little rooms here. Captain gets his own room up front, and you have your own. You have a rather nice kitchen for a Drake ship back here, and you even have up here a bathroom, which makes sense for a ship that has a kitchen. There's a bathroom that goes along with it, with a nice little table up here. And, just as importantly, you have a secondary crew elevator back here. And what's really cool is this crew elevator takes you to the roof of the Corsair. So you can actually use the Corsair as a bit of a scouting platform. You can send someone up here on the roof of the Corsair to scout out the surrounding area, get a bit of a better vantage point, set up a sniper here if you need to provide long-range fire support for someone. Definitely use this to your advantage. Also of note, you note that the Corsair has a rear-mounted turret back here to cover its to cover from attacks from above and to the backside. The Corsair also has a surface access for also this elevator, so it can also go down to the ground floor or surface planet, or rather, when you're out and about, the surface of the planet. Back here, you have this you have a very interesting room here. This is the it's kind of like a airlock collar here to separate in case something happens back there from the cabin. And this little airlock room type room also has access for the turrets on either side. Going past this mini airlock here, you have the captain's cabin up here. With his own little storage locker up here, which is fitting because this is the bridge up here. Don't think that's a functional display, but you have the captain's seat up here, who has a decent bit of visibility all around, and has access to the majority, I believe the majority of the ship's firepower in the front-mounted guns. So he can actually go ahead and have his guns all firing forwards, similar to the Constellation, although they're all kind of more clustered around the nose. Also of note, the Caterpillar Captain does have access to missiles as well. I do believe he has access to quite a few. There's quite a lot of numerous missiles on the wing. I actually never sat down and counted them all out, but of course he also has quite a lot of missiles there. And this seat down here is the co-pilot seat. And the co-pilot seat drops down below, goes to the front. And you can actually also fly the ship, I believe, from this side. And you can get a better idea of where your ship is landing, because you have a more downward visibility here rather than the upward visibility of the ship captain up there. Also, you have all your MFDs up above, and I believe power off. Let's see here. The remote turret at the rear. The remote turret at the rear is accessed through this co-pilot seat. So, if you come under attack and you're managing the ship systems, you can easily switch over to the rear turret to provide cover that way. But thankfully, I should also make you mention that the ship is actually pretty good on the offense. And you do, between the side turrets and the top turret and the pilots on the front turrets, no one really should be messing with you, just because of the sheer amount of firepower that you carry, especially in your forward firing arc. I do believe the turrets are geared so that they can fire mostly forward. So just arcing the ship a little bit off to the side, I believe, gives the turrets forward firing, a good forward firing arc. So between the ship captain and the two turrets, there's a huge amount of firepower focused on the front of the ship, which makes it good for piracy. This is definitely, the Corsair is, while it isn't marketed as an exploration ship, and you can easily use it as such, it is very much an offensively focused exploration ship. Whereas other ship manufacturers will focus more on defensive turrets for their exploration ships, or just heavy armor, this is very much following the philosophy of force intimidation through sheer firepower. So that's the Corsair. It is a very popular ship for people. Lots of firepower, good turrets with good firing arcs with the turrets. Lots of room in the back for carrying ground vehicles. It is definitely a very popular ship of choice for people in the verse. Going to grab a burrito because my character is getting hungry. There we go. And believe it or not, we're actually wrapping up Drake's Hall here for the ships that are currently available. I do think, I want to see here, yeah, Drake only has the Kraken as its only ship that's in concept at the moment, which is actually kind of a bit of a miracle. A lot of the other ship manufacturers have a lot of ships in concept still. Drake is lucky in that it only has one ship in concept. It's a huge one, with the Kraken being the size of an Idris and being kind of like a fleet carrier, but it is, nonetheless, at least its only ship in production. Onto a ship that has been around the block almost since the beginning of Star Citizen. We have the Cutlass Black. Cutlass Black has quite a bit of forward-facing firepower. It has 4 forward-facing guns and 2 on a turret up above. The turret is manned, however, so you do need to carry at least 1 extra person to get the ability to use the firepower from the turret. Other than that, the Cutlass is actually very much a Tier 2 starter that everyone loves, and is a very popular choice for a starter ship. Partly because you do have this very nice and large vehicle or cargo bay back here that can actually carry some of these smaller vehicles in the game. Also, it has side door access to the cargo bay, as well as rear door access, so it is very easy to load and unload cargo and people from the Cutlass. And as such, it's very utilitarian, quite a bit of cargo, decent bit of firepower to protect yourself. Drake ships aren't necessarily the most durable, but it's durable enough, and it's reasonably agile enough too. You also have back here 2 beds, gun rack. You do not have any place to go. You do not have a bathroom or a shower in the black. Instead, on the black, you have this turret. And if you're not in the turret, your second crew member can be here on the co-pilot seat, while the pilot sits up at the very front. And these seats do rise up. So you actually do sit up, and you get good visibility down below and all around. And the co-pilot seat actually even sits a little bit higher up than the pilot seat. So there's your Cutlass Black. One of the cheaper, cheaper tier 2 starters. Actually, it's now that I think about it, it is actually one of the more pricier options for the tier 2 starter. I believe these start around 110, but for the value, for what you get, it is bang for your buck, one of the better starter ships. If you want to go for a more advanced starter ship that you can still fly solo. Granted, as a Cutlass Black owner, if you do not have a friend, you will lose. You won't be able to man the turret and use its weapons, but you'll still have access to quite a lot of weapons at stock. If you're looking to get into the medical gameplay, however, there is the Drake Cutlass Red. The Red is the ambulance version of the Cutlass, and it's more suited for medical operations. You lose most of the cargo bay, except for a little bit back here, and you can use that little bit of extra cargo space back here to store supplies, which you will need because you have 2 medical beds here, as well as 2 beds here for crew members. So you have 2 crew members who can sleep back here. You do have docking collars instead of doors on either side, so you can dock with you can dock with ships that have a small docking ring back over on the sides. 2 medical beds. I don't believe these allow you to spawn in, but they do allow you to treat up tier 3 injuries as well as heal your health. So you at least can get patched up somewhat back here while you get transported back to a landing zone for tier 1 injuries. Going up here towards the front of the ship, we have 2 more beds, so you have a total of 4 beds. And you even actually have, which is rare for these ships, a bathroom back here. So you actually do have a toilet sink combo for 1 toilet sink combo for 4 people, which isn't too bad. And you have your pilot, co-pilot, and then 2 other beds for your medical crew. So you can carry a total of 4 people who can land on a planet side, and then have 1 medic, 1 or 2 medics, and then 2 guys as escorts or guards to keep an overwatch to make sure no one's come to finish off your injured party. So that's the Drake Cutlass Red. Definitely a good entry-level medical ship. Currently, really is the only dedicated medical ship in-game. There are other ships that can do medical stuff, including the medical snub Pisces. But it's that ship is very much a one-off ship, and it only has room for 1 person, whereas the rescue has room for 2 people. Also to note with the Cutlass Red, the only ship that could possibly replace it would be the RSI Apollo, which is a dedicated medical ship from the ground up, but that has been sort of in and out of development for a while, and I don't think it's going to come into the gameplay soon. If you do get an Apollo, you will end up with the Cutlass Red anyway, so take it what you will. You must, if you're just getting into the medical gameplay and you don't want to spend as much as on a, you don't want to spend as much on a ship as the Apollo, go for the Red. It'll treat you well. Cutlass Blue, however, is the bounty hunting ship. It has a different nose, more distortion weapons on this one as compared to the stock loadout to help you knock out ships rather than outright kill them. You still have defensive turrets on the ship, like the Black, to give yourself a little bit of extra firepower for when dealing with threats. But back here, you have a little bit of cargo space. First, in this case, instead of medical supplies, you'd probably be carrying supplies for doing bounty hunter work, possibly including lots of extra FPS ammo. And you have these prisoner pods. And you have a total of 12 prisoner pods back here, so you can carry quite a lot of bounties. No extra room for spare beds. You only have 2 beds back here, so you have one guy in the turret, and then one guy's a pilot, co-pilot combo. So this is very much, well, you can operate the ship solo, and especially if you want to carry a whole lot of bounties. Considering the dangers of bounty hunting profession, this is definitely a awesome ship for a bounty hunter duo. Both of you hop in, you each have your own little bed, you have each your own little role on the ship, and then when it comes to tracking down bounties, you have 2 people to go after instead of just 1. So hopefully you get the advantage in numbers over your target. I believe the Avenger, the Avenger Titan, or the Avenger Stalker, had only 6 pods compared to the Blue's 12. So that's another thing you might want to consider if you want to go out and do like longer sprints out in the Black before you return back. The Blue's also good for that. Now here we get to the much maligned and honestly for good reason Drake Cutlass Steel. This is the dropship version of the Cutlass. However, the big problem with this is the Drake Cutlass series has never been known for its durability. They're not super paper thinly armored. They're not like, it's not thinly armored, but it's not heavily armored either, and it's not super fast either. So you're definitely going to be running up into trouble if you're trying to fight against threats that are going to fight back or have good defenses. But if you're going against a lightly defended area, this is a really good ship for that. You can have a whole lot of people mounted up in the ship. You have 6 back there in a little area back there. Plus you have an additional 12 here in the middle. So you have 18 people in their own dedicated drop sheets. Plus you have 2 miniguns on the port and on the starboard rather, and then port side over there. Plus you have a minigun in the back. Plus you have a rear-mounted turret up there. Plus I believe you have a turret on top through here. So you have an insane amount of firepower. Mostly small arms, mostly geared towards dealing with infantry with the rapid-fire Gatling cannons. But regardless, you can easily wipe the floor with lightly defended outposts that are mostly infantry. With the sheer amount of infantry you can bring to bear, and the sheer amount of Gatling guns that you can literally spray and pray an entire area with. But if you're going up against any serious threat, you're going to struggle, because again, the Cutlass series does not have the best armor, and this isn't like super fast either or super stealthy. So it's also on the website store very expensive for what it is, which is the main reason people have a problem with it. Definitely I forget how much it is, but compared to, I think it's almost double over the regular Cutlass. So probably don't pick this. Rent the ship out, try it, but considering it's over $200 plus, I believe, on the store page, don't buy this with real much money. Definitely have this as a ship you earn with your org. If you want an actual drop ship that's not going to cost an arm and a leg like the other one, like the other ones especially when it comes to Anvil Day, the Anvil Valkyrie Anvil Valkyrie, that's a drop ship that might be worth its actual store price. Now, over here, we get to the last ship, and it's the entry-level salvage ship, the Drake Vulture. Really beautiful paint job, by the way, on the Vulture. The yellow and black really pops, and it's a really beautifully designed ship for what just amounts to a salvage team, which is basically just a wrecking crew ship. As the salvage, it's basically what you're doing. So with salvage, back here, this is where the salvage builds up, and then you pop the boxes out here. Box pops out there, and then you move the box here into this little cargo area right here to store your salvage material. So you climb up, and you get access to where all the component bays are here. So you have all your components up here, or at least most of your components up here, and you have your own little cooking space. You have your own little bathroom right here, shower, sink combo. You have your own little bed. So this is your own little cabin up here, and after your right after your cabin, you have the operator's cockpit up here with a really good visibility across your front arms and your salvage beams. Also of note is the ship has an exit outside of its cockpit right here, so you can sneak out here, and you have this little effectively patio up here, and you can hop down here onto the salvage arm and walk across it if you feel so daring. Inspect the area up here, see if there's any damage or what your next move is. And you do have that patio area over there, but there's no ladder to get up to it. And to get down off the ship, you can go right here. And there should be an interaction prompt to let you use the ladder there, but as is with IAE, it's a little bit difficult sometimes to access it because it wants you to rent the ship. Other than that, you do actually have two guns on this right next to the cabin, so you actually do get to see the bullets fly out right past your cabin whenever you're firing them, if you need to use them in self-defense. And really, Drake Vulture, nothing really much to say about other than if you want to get into salvage as a single person, this is your ship. If you want to get into salvage relatively cheaply, this is your ship. Yeah, this is basically your... Well, it is your only option for salvage, at least on the entry level. It is actually still a very good option. It's not like the ship is poorly designed or anything. It's just, this is currently, as of right now for 2023, the only entry-level salvage ship. But it's still, as you can see, still quite a beaut. So, quite sure this is going to be the salvage ship of choice for many, many years. And that wraps up everything there is at IAE for the flyable ships for Drake. We are going to run back now. And we're going to go to the Drake Kraken, which is in the Holo Viewer. And while we pass that up, we should also pass by Drake's quote-unquote ground vehicles with the Dragonfly series. And while they're not technically, well, they are ground vehicles. They are hover bikes, and as such, they can be deployed in space. So they are technically spacefaring vehicles, even though their primary intention is to be used on the ground. So here we are. Here's the Drake Dragonfly. Standard color is black. If you do see a yellow Dragonfly, that is a limited time version of the Dragonfly when it first came out, known as the Yellow Jacket. And I do own it. I did pick up the Dragonfly when it first came out, so I was able to snag the Yellow Jacket version. I don't believe the Yellow Jacket version is available for sale in stores or around the verse. However, there are actually a lot of different paint schemes for the Dragonfly, so don't feel too bad about it. You can probably honestly find a much better, you can find probably a cooler color scheme than just the yellow. It is a, Dragonfly is used interesting because there is actually, it's a 2-seat ground vehicle. So someone can actually ride along with you, and there is actually a, don't know if it's fully implemented or not, but there actually is a little bit of cargo space back here for you as well. Plus, it actually is fairly decent against infantry because it has these two, what effectively are slug shotguns up here. So you can use them against infantry and light vehicles to great effect. And it does actually fold up relatively compactly, so you can actually get into a good number of ships. So it's a really good option for a ground vehicle. Ground vehicles are not 100% they're worth the money on the store page, but you can. But if you do find yourself buying a ground vehicle often every time the server progress gets wiped, and you really like it, you can go ahead and splurge. They're not horrendously expensive, so it is something that you can consider getting if you find yourself buying it and loving it a lot. But it's not a must-have. Also, there is the Drake Mule, and this is basically a bit of a utility truck for Star Citizen. It's another smaller ground vehicle. You can fit cargo boxes up there a little bit, and you can fit some one SU cargo box down there. I never really found the point of this. It's kind of a useless little ground vehicle. I don't even think it... I think it might have a tractor beam eventually, but I don't know. Can never really seem to find the point or use of this. It just sort of exists. After that, we get to the display hall here, where we see Drake's Interplanetary's only holo viewer on display, but is it a doozy? Here we have the Drake Kraken, which is basically a mobile floating pirate base / pirate carrier. It is what it is. If you have aspirations for manning your own pirate fleet carrier, go for it. It is a lot of money. You're going to need a huge amount of crew to run this, and it's kind of pointless unless you have other people who you know are going to use this ship, but it is what it is. It's also one of those hull limited ships, so don't be surprised if if you run out of hulls before you're able to buy it. It's very popular, and CIG wants to keep it a limited ship because with a lot of their more powerful ships, they don't want a crap ton of them floating around the verse, because it will throw off the game balance. Plus, to be honest, with a lot of those larger ships, you really want to earn them in game. You definitely want those ships to be something that you and an org work towards as a long-term goal. Otherwise, if you kind of buy a ship like that, you're just gonna not have you will have access to a very powerful ship, but there's not going to be really much for you to aim for afterwards. And that's it for Drake Day here at IAE. Next day, we have a whole bunch of smaller ship manufacturers. So we have Argo, Consolidated Outland, Drake Hat, and Kruger tomorrow. And after that, on Thanksgiving Day, we have Anvil Aerospace. So quite a lot of interesting ship manufacturers still left. And hopefully I'll see you tomorrow for Argo Day. Until then, see you around.